Hey, it's Greg Grunberg, Snap Wexley, and you are listening to 6th Scale Scavengers.
All right, Scavengers, welcome to episode 67 of the 6th Scale Scavengers Hot Toys podcast. I'm your host, Bryan Fontaine, joined as always with my good friends, Chris Letty, the Beard, and TC, although the beard isn't as strong as it normally is. I kind of have a little bit of the scruff going on here. I usually am the clean-shaven one of the bunch of us, but we are back after a 2-week hiatus. So we broadcast live here on YouTube and in audio form on Apple Podcasts and Google Play and Amazon Music, all those other fun things every 2 weeks. And talking hot toys, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, whenever they get around to releasing some things. But tonight, guys, we've been Star Wars heavy lately. Due to WandaVision, the hot toys market is starting to rebound for Marvel, and we're going to talk about that. It's not back all the way. I don't want to mislead anybody here, but we have some data to talk about, and you guys both have some skin in the game right now with some listings and stuff going on, so you're very interested in kind of like what's going on there. So we'll cover that. Happy Lunar New Year. It's one of the last days of the public holiday now, and Hot Toys is we'll get back into the full swing of things. Chris, we've been doing this a couple of years now. TC, you've been on board the last couple of years. I think we timed it right. There's not really much of a lull. Knock on wood, 67 episodes in plus, and we have not had an episode where there has been zero news, and that streak continues. Can't really complain about that too much. But yeah, so that's what's on deck. We're going to review Why is Gamora after 933 days plus. Chris, you have it in hand.
Good Lord.
What a wait that was. That was some nifty unboxing there, Chris. We just were talking about that before we went recording. I mean, we are a bunch of hacks, but TC, I don't know. I'm impressed with what Chris just pulled off. Nobody else is going to be, but we are.
Yeah.
I mean, literally,
it was
pulled it off.
It's embarrassing.
During the countdown intro, I'm like frantically trying to get all the plastic off and everything.
Chris is a box collector.
Yeah,
Yes,
inbox collector in the Letty warehouse there. Thankfully, we've got Roy to help us with the cover art. Obviously, I see moderator Mike's already out there. I saw Sean, one of our new moderators. Actually, so in between the last episode, the team is another +1. We have, and TC, I'm going to butcher Sean's last name. You give it a shot because you say it differently every time.
Yahtzee.
Well, not like
Shoot the
Yahtzee,
dice.
the game. Yeah, whatever.
No, it's Yahtzee.
Okay.
Yahtzee.
So Sean, welcome to the team, and you guys know Sean from the 6th Scale community. Happy to have him helping us moderate here live on YouTube and in our Facebook group. And obviously a great guy, great collector. Joins obviously the rest of us and obviously Scott from Parker Files as well. So yeah, we'll talk about some of Scott's videos. He just dropped the Captain America Endgame review recently. Obviously, not that long ago, had reviewed Gamora, which will be our feature figure review for this evening. And again, why people enjoy our collection updates is beyond me, but built-in content is never really a bad thing here. So let's not bury the lead, guys. Let's get into the news. And we don't necessarily have the last couple episodes. We've done some, interesting stats in the last couple of years as it relates to those three main properties that we talk about. But ironically enough, TC, the first figure we're going to talk about isn't even in our database, just because I don't track those things. But finally, we've got Hellboy here. Chris, our buddy Raul, is probably one of the biggest Hellboy fans I know.
Right.
Read comics growing up, and here we are. Maybe the movie wasn't that great, Chris, but TC, this figure's looking pretty good.
Oh yeah, I mean, Hot Toys always does this stuff well. These one-off characters, they tend to put a lot of love into them, and this turned out really well. I haven't seen that many reviews, just to watch pieces of a couple, but I think they did well. I never saw the movie, so it's hard for me to speak more on anything other than the visual aspect. But pretty solid effort. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first two movies in the early 2000s. I haven't seen this one yet. I think visually, this figure looks great. We're getting a Hot Toys figure. I'm sure brand new from the ground up, and it's nice to see Hot Toys really putting, like you said, all their effort into a one-off character. And it's too bad the movie was not well received and didn't do that great. But yeah, we need Hot Toys to make more figures like this for other franchises to get some representation. But I think it looks awesome. Lots of detail with the different looks and everything.
Yeah, I had to pull the stats. I had to do some investigative work that I normally do just for the database, just because we don't obviously have a page for either other or other things going on. But this was MMS 527. The sideshow retail price of this was $266. Announced way back on April 18th, 2019, released on February 5th, 659 days. I mean, that's
Wow.
a lot. I mean, almost shy of 2 years. A lot of people probably already forgot about this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, David Harbour, we love him in Stranger Things. And I just think a lot of people just didn't see this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be one of those ones that probably is pretty sought out after it sells out. So yeah, I think I have to adjust some volume.
Yeah, Chris, just up your game just maybe a little bit. You're so soft spoken. The people want to hear from you.
Up your gain or up your game?
Both.
Both.
I mean, Chris is the worst. So
my kids messed around with my mic.
Obviously that could be an excuse for any of us, but I legit know that we talked about it ahead of time. So we'll get that sorted. So thanks all the Scavengers for tuning in live before we get going here. Wow, 65 people already, seeing a lot of the usuals. Chris, you're still a little low.
Okay.
I see James Hidalgo, Chris. Let's see. We've got Bill from Dorklair. What's up, Chief? Doing great work on Twitter. I see Jesse, Mario, the Intergalactic Arms Dealer. I thought I saw Cletus out there not that long ago. See Nathan out there. Han Shot First. Obviously Sean, Robert, Andrew. Could keep going on and on. It's and obviously Mark, my brother from another mother. Lots of people tuning in live, and we certainly appreciate that. All right, guys. Next up is the full-size child from Hot Toys. Yeah, life size 13. Sideshow retail price $410. Announced back on March 26th, 2020. Released on February 8th, so a little less than a year. Right on par with when we expected to get this. TC, this is always going to be known as the figure that went up against the Sideshow version, the statue, essentially. And they each have their pluses and minuses. I wish you could just combine both figures together and you end up with one really good one. It looks like him from a certain angle. I mean, it obviously looks like Grogu, but in some angles, he just looks like he's got a really chubby face, TC.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad. Like I said this a long time ago, like Grogu is a very odd looking creature, but they've mastered his cuteness on the show. It's like perfect. But if any kind of change, it does change his cuteness a lot, in my opinion. I think they did a pretty good job. I like the articulation with the mouth. For what it is, it's pretty solid. It's just, it's $400 and some dollars. So if you're talking $400 there, $400 for the 85, Mark 85, or $300 for the Heavy Mando, you start looking at different your options out there right now, and then some Marvel stuff's heating up. I just, for me, it was a pass at the end. Even though I did pre-order, I did cancel it. I couldn't go through with it, but I don't think it's bad. It just doesn't fit my direction.
Yeah, Chris, you got your audio sorted?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's still a little low.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Check.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, this one is definitely, like you said, pluses and minuses. There was a little while where I thought I would go for it, but decided to hold back, and I'm glad that I didn't pre-order. I don't know. I think it looks cute and it looks fine, but yeah, for over $400, plus shipping and then if you have to pay tax and everything, yeah, it's a tough one. And I know that I could not keep this away from my girls. Like, they mess with my mic on my stuff down here. Like, there's no way that they wouldn't be trying to sneak this one, even though they've got their Mattel ones, which are, fine. But
maybe you'd see that Mattel one in the basement.
Yeah, like
this one's gone.
Like, this angle looks good. And actually, shout out to BG Toy Art, one of the best photo bloggers that Hot Toys has. I know recently on his Instagram, he indicated that he was going to be stepping away. I think he said he had about 3 or 4 figures left in the hopper, which kind of told me, like, how far in advance do they really know this? Is this where some of that intel that some people have is coming from? But on the other hand, I mean, there's others that, like, Jingle Bell does just great, but I don't know, like, BG Toy Art's always been one of my favorites, and we wish everybody the best in this hobby. But you sad to see somebody go.
Yeah, absolutely. He always does great work, and he's still going to be doing other things. But yeah, you see his blogger pics, and it's always top notch, and it really makes the most of of these figures and characters and everything.
I mean, if I was going to grade this, guys, and I also too had this on pre-order at one point, and then I had it on pre-order again, and just decided it just wasn't going to be for me. And I had made that decision a month or 2 ago, so this wasn't a rash decision like I do with pretty much all my other collecting decisions. Like, I changed my mind 71 times in a day, and the admin team can attest to that.
I love this one. He's drinking the Mandalorian juice box.
I mean, I'd give this like a B or a B plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, this one looks good. I mean, holding up the cookies here, Space Macaroon. I don't know. It's just,
I think, again,
it's like an artistic styling of him versus the actual prop.
Yeah.
But then even the actual prop guys that Sideshow had still had some. Honestly, the thing that I chose not to get the Sideshow prop, and I've got it on the screen here too, neither version had the little white hair fuzzies on his ears. And it sounds weird, but that like bugged the heck out of me to not have that.
Oh, you went on the 1/6. Sorry, I missed it. The 1/6 version. Is that what you're talking about?
The full scale here, and then the sideshow one.
I
Yeah,
see.
you know, like on screen here, he's got the little hairs
it
on
just
his
stops
wee
right
little
at his
head.
ears.
It stops at his ears,
Yeah.
but it continues on.
That's
So
true.
I don't know if it was just
Yeah.
something that they changed in production or whatnot, but it's
This is
Ah.
this is the type of thing where it's going to, you have this in your collection or whatever, and you have friends over or family over. I mean, this is going to be the hit.
oh, they're not gonna
Yeah,
they're not
yeah,
gonna
they're not
scrutinize it like we are.
Exactly.
Trust me.
So I think if you just want that fun talking point piece in your collection, and you don't mind spending the money, I think the life size Grogu. I mean, that's gonna be it. Everybody's gonna just focus on that. You know, they're gonna walk right past all the other cool stuff.
Yeah. So, and I mean, again, we cover 6 scale here, which obviously this is, I thought was going to be some of our only news, so we had included it in the show notes just in case. Actually, we did have it in our database. We still have the page on our website, but you know, I if you look on our Star Wars page, you won't find it there. But we still have got the link there because obviously I spent time making it. I didn't want it to go away completely, but yeah, I wouldn't get into any kind of a big argument with anybody if the sideshow one is better or that one's better. I think they both have pluses and minuses, like I said. Get the one if you want to have a full-size Grogu, Baby Yoda, the child. My son is very insistent that even though he's been watching the show with me, that it's Baby Yoda. You can't convince him otherwise that it's Grogu or the child or anybody. It's Baby Yoda. So, all right, 2 really big things to talk about, guys. I love when Hot Toys gives us these little teasers. I'd love it more if they gave us the actual pre-orders of these figures. This is right up there with one of my most anticipated Mandalorian figures. With obviously on screen, you can see that it's reclaimed armor Boba Fett from chapter 15. Was it 15? No, 14. 14. Yeah. My numbers are wrong. And wow, I mean, obviously we don't see all of it, but I mean, this was a main storyline from season 2 of The Mandalorian. You saw him and the Stinger at the end of chapter 9. And then obviously he comes up and, wants, obviously Mando thinks he wants his armor, but no, Boba wants his armor back. And Chris, TC, I mean, Chris, you and I are like the original trilogy gang here. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Boba Fett has a very, very strong following in Star Wars fandom. For me, I haven't disliked Boba Fett before, but Chris, in this episode, Boba Fett paid off on 40 years of coolness and just wrecked shop. Like I still think back to those scenes. Like Roberto Rodriguez, I can't wait till you do the book of Boba Fett. I mean, just give me 4 episodes, 8 episodes of what we saw in chapter 14 and chef's kiss.
Oh my God. I get chills even thinking about that scene. That was one of my favorite Star Wars on-screen moments, honestly. And like I love Boba Fett and everything, but he's never been like it for me. But I mean, that moment when he got his armor back and just, went at it with all those, stormtroopers. And the cool thing was in that episode is they showed you that it's not just the armor that makes Boba Fett badass. I mean, he like took that gaffy stick and just smashed skulls, and you saw that he could really fight. And then he gets the armor and then it ups the ante with his, the cool factor. And he's just using all the gadgets and everything like he would have in his prime. Yeah.
I mean, TC, we kind of almost got the the Iron Man 1 blowing up the tank and walking away when he puts the his little rangefinder on and takes out the transport. There it just kind of turns around and walks away. Like coolness factor.
Wouldn't surprise me if that was they took some of that from Iron Man. I know that's what he's known for, is jetpack, but Jon Favreau, Iron Man 1, Jon Favreau, Mandalorian.
Yeah,
so
he knows it.
Yeah, but great. I mean, look, this is going to be awesome. I mean, I don't really know how else to say it. It's just going to be an awesome figure release. Hopefully we get that head sculpt. I don't know. Maybe that's why they're doing this like half reveal, even though you can see his helmet. I don't know why they wouldn't just show it, but it looks great. And like you guys, Boba Fett's never been my favorite character because everything about Boba Fett is just been stories or like the lore of the rocket firing Boba Fett, that kind of thing with the old Kenner toy, with that little piece that never actually made it to market.
Boba Fett,
yeah. So everything about him just like it's some, I don't know, it's not made up, but it's just all like story and legend. But it was great seeing it on screen pay off, like you said, Brian. So I'm excited for this, and this is the one I was hoping for. I think we're going to end up getting two. But, this is the one I wanted first.
Yeah, TC, I know we talked about this last episode out, kind of on the figures we speculated, and both this and then Chris, I guess they're calling the other one, at least for other manufacturers and like Hasbro and stuff, they're kind of calling it like his re-armored version when it's, clean look and stuff. So it's almost a foregone conclusion that we're going to get that one too eventually. We may have to wait on it, but like I know our buddy, the Mafex Mando, Jared himself, this is the one he wanted. And I think he thought they were gonna skip over this one and just go directly to the the one that we see in him at the end of the season. So this, if anybody can't tell, we're pretty excited about this one.
Yeah. This is dopo. Day one pre-order for me. I can't, I can't hit that, message to Ray at Underground Figures fast enough. I mean, it's just.
And I mean, even before all this, and I'm not going to necessarily cover it in the collection update because I don't actually have them in the hand, but I've been kind of hunting down some of the older Boba Fett figures. And I'm not quite sure what I want to do, but then this changes things. Obviously, I'm going to have some Boba Fetts in my collection, including this one, the Empire Strikes Back one and the Return of Jedi. I'm kind of struggling with the vintage one, the animated one, and then do I need the 40th anniversary one and have the pre-pro version as well. So I know. We'll see. I've changed my mind about 71 times today.
We know what's happened once you've completed a line. It just gets blown up, and
I get my little video game achievement, and I move on to the next conquest. So but this is not the only figure. This broke last night. Today, Bo-Katan.
Hell yeah.
I was worried, guys, we weren't going to get this, Chris. Like, this is one fans want this. You've got the Bo-Katan shirt on. Katie Sackhoff she's huge on social media. And obviously I think it was the Instagram post, Chris, that she put like, the little fire emoji under she's... Her dad, if you watched any of the Disney Gallery shows and stuff, like her dad is a huge Star Wars fan. So, and obviously she as well, obviously played the character in the Clone Wars. As season 4, 5, and 6 and 7 kind of all came out, like Bo-Katan went from a throwaway character to obviously being the sister of the Duchess Satine, got more screen time or cartoon time, whatever you want to call it, in the final season there, Chris, and to see her make the jump, and Rebels, yeah, you're right, I forgot about that, but to make the jump to live action, and she kicks some butt with Mando, man. And she had the sass like you would expect her to, and kind of through, I think as part of Mando's character development, kind of got him really questioning this is the way. And I love the way that she kind of said it, because it was like tongue in cheek of like, just that full on sass of like, well, this is the way. We don't. I think obviously everybody can tell I'm excited about this, but I think the question mark on this one, guys, is do we get a Katie Sackhoff head sculpt with this one? Quick over under, or just gut feeling, guys. What are you thinking? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Mine's a yes too. So Hot Toys, make it happen.
Yeah. I know a lot of comments on Twitter or on Instagram and Facebook were like, please make this make a head sculpt and everything. And we really need it. I mean, we just need more. We need more female Star Wars characters. We need more characters with head sculpts from Mandalorian. Definitely things that, really, a lot of the collectors, they want. And I think having her head sculpt, because you could have her holding the helmet and all that stuff. I think it just gives you so many more options. But yeah, this figure, just from, what we can see on screen here, this is just going to be, a focal point in the collection. I got to say, when she showed up in season 2, like, jaw dropping, like, we heard rumors that she was going to be in the show, but like to actually see it happen, I'm just like, that was almost a bigger jaw-dropping moment than seeing Ahsoka, because then, we got the tease that, and it came from her mouth, like, that Ahsoka was coming. So, yeah, I think, getting this, and then we talked last time around, do we see her Mandalorian, team or whatever? Who knows? But this one, definitely.
I think, I don't know. This kind of brings into question. I mean, do we get Sasha Banks, Cosca Reeves? Obviously I'm seeing here in the comments too, and I don't think you'd find any of us disagreeing here that we'd love to get a new version of Luke Skywalker. Spoiler alert. And Chris, I know that you recently just got in your custom hood fig to put on, but I mean, give me, I'm all for, artists coming out and finding ways to supplement what's out there or not out there in the Hot Toys collecting market in the 6 scale. But I mean, that's high on my list. Obviously Ahsoka. I mean, I think this brings this to me tells me they're serious. Like, this was the one figure that I wasn't sure about. And now the fact that we've got this, I think this opens up the possibilities. Go back to TC. I know we just talked about this last episode out where we kind of speculated on some of these options, but I think this opens more doors than it closes here.
Oh yeah. And just along those lines, I'm liking how Hot Toys is doing this. This is awesome because we've never had a show, I guess, that Hot Toys really focuses on for multiple seasons now. And what it's doing is it's allowing them to spread out the releases over time. So instead of an event like an Avengers movie where you're just pelted with 10, 12, 14 releases on the span of 2 months, 3 months, you get tons of figures, but over the course of 2 years. And what it's doing, it keeps the line from fizzling out. And at the same time, it's really allowing them to dive deeper into the line. So to me, the Mando line is the number one Star Wars line, and it's going to be the number one Star Wars line for a long time. And so this is, for me, I'm getting every single Mandalorian figure, and I'll take out whatever needs to be taken out to make it happen. This is awesome. This figure is great. Can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Whew. Wow. This was a nice surprise to add to the show notes today, guys.
Heck yeah.
All right, we still do have some other news to cover. So obviously, our feature figure today, Gamora, already went on waitlist on Sideshow. Gare Bear had posted an image of spacing on his guy's name from the actor from Boy Meets World.
Ben Savage.
Ben Savage,
yes,
nice. Just like Gamora, like obviously people had the opportunity for almost 3 years to order her. So, but I think it's that FOMO. You know, we talked about that a couple episodes out too. You know, sometimes even if you're on the fence about doing something, knowing that you no longer have the option, I know for a fact that always has an impact on my decisions. My decisions are crazy anyways, but knowing that an option is off the table, get a little bit more crazy about that. And you guys know about that on the admin team. I appreciate you guys putting up with my my hijinks on a daily basis, and it literally is daily. So, David K, obviously an awesome scavenger. We've shouted him out before, but just in general, I love the fact that there's people in the 6 scale community that enjoy doing these things that like we do. We obviously have this show. We don't try to make money off it. We could do super chat and ads and stuff like that. But I just like hanging out with the two of you and everybody else in the chat here. And just to see somebody that has such an interest in what they're doing and they kind of do it just for the love of doing it. They love numbers or something like that. So obviously David is going through and he's found shipping manifests from Hong Kong to the United States and seeing case, container and shipment data and stuff like that. So he's able to extrapolate that out. And it just gives us a little peek into volumes that have only been speculated before on other content creators and stuff like that. So it's not even proprietary to us, and we're not going to claim it to be ours. So obviously this is David out there doing some awesome work. But he did notice that there's 2 shipments that we've gotten so far for Gamora, one on December 23rd and the other on January 22nd, total of 2,868 pieces. Putting that up against some of the more popular figures that we'll talk about in a couple moments, like with Iron Man, it's a very low total, Chris. Very surprising. So I guess I can't say that I'm terribly surprised that it's already waitlist and it doesn't seem like they're going to be getting another shipment.
I would bet not, honestly. We know it took so long and there were so many delays with that figure that I'm sure Hot Toys is just wiping their hands clean of it and moving on to the next figure. So, if that is the case, those numbers, I mean, for Sideshow, and then Sideshow distributes out to all their retailers from there. I mean, it's a low number. It's for sure. I mean, who knows in Hong Kong and elsewhere, but yeah. I mean, if you can find her, if you wanted her, and jump on waitlist, and then if some of the other Hong Kong retailers have her for not too high over retail. I don't really know what she's been going for, like from Toys Buying Agent or Toys Wonderland or any of that stuff.
Yeah, she never really dropped very low. She was always kind of a little above retail. But yeah, I mean, what is the number? 2868?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really not that high for a figure, a 1/6 scale figure. I've always thought this is without, the low thousands would be bare minimum. I mean, I don't see how you make a production run any lower than that. So yeah, like you said, Chris, I just think I agree with you 100%. I think this was a thorn in their side the whole time for years, and they just want to just move on and work on something else. What's the point of producing more? Just at this
just
rate.
Make it, make the next one for Volume 3.
Yeah.
So David also found some data about Heavy Mando and a second wave of Beskar Mando sets arrived on February 10th. So Sideshow's probably still getting things to their factory and stuff like that. Would not be terribly surprised to see people start getting Heavy Mando shipping notices from Sideshow. I would anticipate within the week, and combined with the Heavy Mando and then the other Beskar Mando sets, they've got about 3,000 figures combined. So again, the Heavy Mando is going to be on the lower side. I know we talked about it. I'll talk a little bit about it in the collection update, but the fact that there's a lot of YouTube reviewers just absolutely raving, Jetta and others raving about the Heavy Mando, the fact that it's not does not look like it was heavily produced, you're gonna see that skyrocket in no time. Like, obviously, we don't necessarily always advocate for, buying figures for like an investment perspective, but like that heavy Mando to me has got, you're not going to lose money on that. I don't think. I think the popularity is going to be there for that one.
Yeah, no doubt. So isn't it out on a lot of retailers, small shops? I think it's only available at Sideshow.
Yeah.
So
I contacted Steven, and he only had figures on wait lists. So, and nobody else really has it. So Sideshow's your only bet. And we also saw some scavengers in our community that got some of the, obviously Sideshow regularly will hand out those $25 promo codes and stuff like that. People could not use those codes on Heavy Mando, 40th Boba. It's like these figures that are imminent to release. They're kind of putting the big X up on those. So, but don't just get it because everybody's talking about it. I mean, obviously get it because it's going to fit your collection. But obviously there's some upside there for sure. Obviously that's Heavy Mando. So TC Mark 85. So just this afternoon, David also found some data that Sideshow just got about almost just shy of 3,000 more items. They've gotten 5 shipments to date with about 10,000 combined Mark 85s. That seems extremely high to me for Hot Toys. I mean, obviously, Chris, in our own little bubble here about Hot Toys, we think Hot Toys are the world, and this community is still so niche. I mean, we're so small. We're lucky to be collecting the things that we do. You thought like the Mark L, the Mark 7, and all these other things that sat around forever. Like, I have a feeling that the Mark 85 could do the same just based on the volumes, because they got about 10,000 combined over those 5 shipments that we were talking about. And then David he's got some historical data. I'd love to talk shop with David someday, because I'm a stat head myself. The Infinity War Machine sat around forever, and they thought there was about 5,000 to 6,000 combined shipments over 4. And then obviously the Mark 7, his data, about 8,000 to 9,000 of those over 5 shipments. So it's I don't think you have to rush out and get a Mark 85. No. But on the other hand, like our buddy Scott with Parker Files has already reviewed it. Again, everybody that has it in hand is just raving about it. Obviously, better reviewed than the original. The Mark L was the Mark 50. So I don't know. I don't think Marvel is not the side of Hot Toys to invest in just because of things sitting around forever.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much supply. I thought 10,000 was actually kind of normal. I figured it would be more like 15, 20, because I thought, I was hearing things like 20, 30,000 for like the Mark 50.
But that's only United States too. It could be worldwide numbers people have talked about too.
That's true. Yeah. But it's tough. I mean, because the battle damage one's coming. And that's going to have another 10 to 15,000, because that is the big one. Mark 85 was there because they're going to release the main suit from the movie, but really the battle damage one is probably where you're going to start seeing people that don't collect Iron Man kind of collect that piece. Just a guess. A little more iconic. You get the Tony sculpt.
Focal point.
Yeah, of the whole saga. So we'll see. I mean, it is tough because I love Marvel, but I just wish that there was a little bit lower production on these, because it just makes the collecting a little bit not tedious, but it's just not quite as fun. It's not the fact that you have something that others don't. It's just I just don't want to put money into something $500 and then watch it crash to $375 when I can just wait. That's so that I canceled my Mark 85, which is kind of shocking because I can't do it right now. I'm gonna wait for the battle damage one. So it's a 180, but it's just hard for me because I know that figure is not going to sell out. So why spend the premium right now? So
yeah, I know.
Yep, and we'll talk about that on our topics for sure, and some of the things that we're seeing. And then finally, moderator Mike, noticed that Sideshow had sent out an email yesterday saying that Hulk Endgame would be shipping soon. Now, they've done that in the past, and they're usually never right, but they did it. They did it for Cap Endgame a few weeks before he was actually released. So I don't know if this is a leading indicator to say like the Professor Hulk is going to be releasing here at some point, but just get on your radar. Again, this is probably not something you need to pre-order. I'm sure that either it was over pre-ordered and you're going to see a similar market crash on that figure, or nobody got it and then it will actually, hold some of that value. So interesting to note all the way. And then obviously you guys mentioned it, like there's some other shenanigans going on with Sideshow. Even today with the Wasp, it kind of went waitlist, but then it wasn't waitlist, and BBTS had like over 24 figures in stock. So
and apparently it's back on waitlist now.
What the
interesting.
Heck? But I mean, it's still available in a lot of places. I know the chat's talking about, there's plenty, at least over in Hong Kong retailers and that sort of thing. So I know James said in Shanghai it might be quite a bit cheaper, but yeah, who knows?
I mean, I love the Wasp. That's a great figure.
Such
Now,
an
that is
awesome
one.
figure.
That's one I would go for now, because I think when it does sell out, you're not getting one for 4 years.
No.
And I just wonder, what are you going to find it? The movie's not coming out for years, and
Exactly.
they're not going to re-release her. And it's really top-notch work. I mean, Chris, you said it yourself.
it
It's
is,
probably
like-
one of your favorites. It's one of my favorite figures, period.
Yeah, one of my, probably my favorite female figure that I have, for sure. I mean, she's right up there at the top of the Marvel collection.
But word of mouth does a lot for, we're just one small little portion of the internet, one small little portion of the 6scale community. There's much larger groups out there with way more people in it than ours. We're not the only voice, we're a voice. We are a bunch of hacks, but enough of you think we're either entertaining enough, or TC, I think, is the only one that gives any good advice out of the three of us. But
Seriously, because
Chris is the worst.
Definitely the worst.
I say that lovingly. Chris, you know that all the time. I someday I'm expecting you to like send me like the real crying emoji or something like that. But I figure you got tough skin, you can handle it. We've been friends long enough.
Oh man, definitely.
The good thing is we like to give each other a hard time here. So anyways, I'm sure there's other news, and we're looking forward to covering more news, obviously in upcoming episodes. Scavenger collection update. All right. I'm looking at the show notes here. Not as crazy as it's been. I would have had a really crazy update, but I'd still have a bunch of things en route. I may not decide to keep them once they arrive. So I'll just talk about what I do have, and I'll surprise everybody. I'll go first because I know you guys have much more interesting updates to share than I do based on what I've got on the board here. So based on our last conversation, when we went step by step through all the Mandalorian figures, and I was on the fence about a few of them, especially with heavy Mando, and I kind of balked at, do I need a standard Beskar Mando to have the different look? Well, I decided at the end of the day, even if I don't keep these figures long term on my collection, I don't want to miss the opportunity now, have any regrets. So the opportunity is still pick them up at retail. So they're back on the menu for now, and I've got those locked in. And then finally, as I've been going through my hunt since mid-December, when Luke Skywalker showed back up on the Mandalorian, I've been hunting down older figures. I did find for a good price the Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper disguise on eBay. It was sealed, and got that in yesterday, got that in my display. And the only one I don't have, and I don't know if I'm ever going to track it down, guys, is the DX7, the Bespin one. I'm hoping for the reissue, the redo. It's a good figure. To me, it just doesn't hold up. I know Roy kind of disagrees and says that it does, but for the price and what it is, even though you're getting the two figures, I don't know if I'm going to pay what the market is, and it's all over the place. It goes up, it goes down. There's a lot of nostalgia for that figure, but at this point, the plan is to pass on the DX7 figure. So that's my update. There's more to come, more en route. I'll probably have a crazier update to share next time out, but that's what I've got in hand now. Chris, TC, who wants to go next?
You can go ahead.
All right. So I got in not a Hot Toys specific piece, but it's for Hot Toys. It's the Unreal Customs Jedi Master Cloak for Luke Skywalker. I jumped on this order. I know a lot of other people did. Unreal Customs put out some great stuff for these figures to really make them pop in the display and everything. And so this cloak is the black cloak. I've actually got it right behind me. It's on Obi-Wan because my Luke is boxed up. But
it's looking a little small there, Chris.
I know it is. It is small. It went through the dryer. Didn't let it air dry. But yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I'd say. I mean, I posted a picture, really horrible picture of just the worst pose. But some of the other guys showed us theirs, and they really, really spent some time on it. It's the let's see, the wire in the cape is pretty thick, so you can get some awesome poses and everything. So check out Unreal Customs on Facebook and Instagram, I think, and send him a message if you're interested. I think he's on to batch like 5 or 6, if he's even still producing them. But yeah, it was like $90 shipped. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it's not a Hot Toys specific piece, but the question is Hot Toys going to make one as good? Maybe, probably not. And then we also have to wait, I don't know how long, the end of next year at the very least, for a Mando Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. So yeah, just a neat little piece. And then the other side of things is things had to get a little crazy. Got to make some room. You guys might be surprised. I did make a post in the Facebook group last week, but I'm actually selling on eBay my Civil War Scarlet Witch, my Age of Ultron Vision, my Civil War Falcon, Infinity War Bucky, and a couple more figures: Infinity War Thanos, Infinity War Black Widow, Infinity War Iron Man Mark 50.
Sensing a theme.
I know. So they're on eBay. My username is Vintage Viewport. You can see the 6 Scale Scavengers sticker in there. I also have a third-party Art Figures Crossbones figure that I may have purchased sipping on something late one night. So I've got a bunch of stuff for sale. I know some of you guys were asking, why would you let this stuff go? Well, one thing, you got to look at the market. You got to, try to capitalize. These figures are great. I mean, look, every single one of them, when I opened them up to take pictures, other than Vision, which is still factory sealed, I mean, they're just all awesome figures, aside from maybe Infinity War Black Widow's hair. I just, you got to let some stuff go. Got to put some money back into the collecting funds. And ultimately, these sales are to help pad my funds for finishing off the basement. So I looked at some figures that could get me some decent money. And those were the ones. And just one little side note, I got a Zach from Collecting Weekly grinds my gears. If you can't afford a figure, do not bid on it and quit canceling bids on my auctions. Almost every single figure, somebody's bid it way up and then they cancel bids, and just really frustrating. And
I block those people.
Yeah,
I'm actively. That's a
dude. That blocklist page is like an entire novel.
I know. I'm just it is really annoying because I'm just trying to let the market dictate where these figures are going to lie because that's the way I wanted to go this time around. And so I'm just trying to thin the herd, and there might be more figures hitting the market next time around. So we will see.
And Elvis, just in case you're wondering, the shore trooper behind him is not leaving, I don't think.
No, none of these figures behind me are leaving.
Yeah.
They're too good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it's I don't know.
Well,
It's obviously a risk, obviously, to sell on eBay because you're gonna get some good buyers and whatnot. But then on the other hand, there's the scourge of the collecting universe that just they just do things like that just to grind our gears. But
yes, exactly.
anyways, you've got enough time. I think all of those are going to do extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you'll do all right. Especially for figure the problem the good thing about doing that for older figures that are nowhere near available for anywhere else, like you're right, Chris, the market dictates what they're going to go for.
Yeah.
There's only a certain amount available. And some of those are highly desirable right now. So
yeah, and all
I think
my
in the
figures,
end, I think in the end you'll do well.
Yeah, I mean they're all pristine. I mean most of them. I think I had Bucky. I took pictures of them. That's pretty much all I did. Used them for when we did our reviews on the episodes. Aside from Vision. Yeah, I mean they're absolutely immaculate figures.
It's that cool New Hampshire basement. I bought the Mark VI from him, Chris, like last year.
Yeah,
and those joints were the tightest joints in any Iron Man I've ever seen. They were pristine. So yeah, it's good luck. You're gonna do well in this.
No humidity here.
None. You'll do well. It'll work out. It'll work out. eBay has its problems. Every seller's gonna deal with it, but anyway.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris and TC. I usually bring up the rear, but it looks like you're
first in history.
The caboose today.
History, the mantle.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I got Black Widow from Endgame, and I think it's a really, really nice figure. Articulation may be lacking a bit, but the sculpt's great. The suit, classic suit, and you can have her just kind of standing with her gun and her other accessories and looking pretty cool. And then I've also done a couple things of selling. Don't crush me. I did find a couple figures that I just bought for retail and just trying to help fund the collection as well, and listed them on eBay. I put up Darth Maul from Solo and OG Mando, and so they're on eBay. But other than that, that's about it. Nothing too crazy. I was not able to secure a Gamora from Steven. He was out, and now Gamora's gone. And didn't buy Gamora when she was at Big Bad Toy Store. Didn't buy Gamora for the last 3 years, so I guess it means I probably shouldn't buy Gamora. It's probably telling me something that I need to stay away from Gamora, but was not able to get her. So we'll see what happens there.
Yep, those are the updates. So mine's going to be crazy next time. We'll look forward to that.
Can acquire all the caps again.
Go back.
I am kind of going back through my my greatest hits here, so it's that regret. I should never have gone on that Marvel fling, basically. Yeah, the Marvel rewatch killed me. But anyways. It is what it is. So speaking of Marvel, let's flip the gears here, flip the script, and we've been talking about Marvel quite a bit through this whole episode. And for one reason or another, guys, Marvel is back a little bit. It's great to have new content on Disney Plus every Friday. WandaVision had a little bit of a slow burn. It's picked up recently. We won't give any spoilers away, but obviously they're in the title. Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, Vision, It's nice to see some recurring characters that are background characters. To be honest, guys, I like the background characters more than some of the others. They'll never make Hot Toys figures out of them, but I'm okay with that. So we know that stuff's going on. We, as in the Six Scale Scavengers, we have our website, sixscalescavengers.com. Shameless plug alert. We maintain a database of Marvel, Star Wars, and DC Comics. We've got all the way back to Inception for all of those 3 lines, tracking all the figures released, when they went up for pre-order, when they got released, retail prices, links to other retailers for things that are still available, like the whole kit and caboodle. It's my labor of love. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and more hours than I would ever care to admit on the show. But if you guys guessed, you would be wrong by a lot. And obviously, we have website traffic. So have been recent, and we've mentioned it before too. Star Wars has been king for basically the last 2 years. And some interesting stats have been starting to come up. It coincides with, obviously, WandaVision being back. And now, Chris TC, we're right on the eve of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The Black Widow movie coming out, hopefully on Disney+, hopefully also in theaters. And just this year that we went through in 2020 without any new Marvel content did a lot to really negatively impact the Hot Toys collecting market for this. But I'm bearing the lead a little bit here. So before I kick things over to both of you guys, I have stats, and I'm a stat head. I know people in the community are too. So just looking purely at our website traffic data, Marvel and Star Wars, the main landing page, not necessarily individual product pages, and we have those too. 2019, first year we started the website. Marvel was leading Star Wars at that point. We had a total of 5,504 site hits between both landing pages. Marvel had a 62% edge with 3,387 views. We flipped that to 2020. Marvel had 6,641. Star Wars, 14,638. Marvel only made up about 31% of our traffic. Man, browbeating them, basically.
Yeah.
Starting this year, Marvel is still bringing up the rear. Only 2,588 to Star Wars, 4,184. Slight increase, though. We're up to 33%. But if we dig into the details a little bit more and we look at just the month of February, and I pulled this a couple nights ago, through the month of February only, Marvel, 1,281. Star Wars, 1,285. Star Wars had them only beat by 4. So it's almost 50-50. Now, I'm not going to make any kind of proclamation, guys, that the Marvel market is back, that you're going to start to see Infinity War figures suddenly become worth their retail price. But if you've been holding out hope, and you've been holding out hope like Chris here, that you're hoping some of your Marvel figures might start to get back some of the value that has been lost, the interest is there. This could be a leading edge to the market kind of doing a rebound. And part of it is just people want what's hot, what's on that they can view now. I mean, Chris, to kick it over to you, I mean, 2 of the figures you just indicated that you've got listed on eBay are 2 of the most desirable Marvel Hot Toy figures right now, just because they're the title characters in the show on Disney+.
Yeah, it was a little bit strategic on my part. Not that I mean, originally those figures were going to be part of my Avengers display. And the more I thought about it, I'm not going to be able to have a display. I mean, if I have the basement close to finished by the end of this year, I would be extremely surprised. So, I mean, I'm talking into next year before I can even start displaying stuff. So, you know, those figures, I love them. I mean, it's hard to let some of these figures go, but with where we are right now with WandaVision, and we're hearing about the viewer numbers and everything, and everything's really positive. The critics really enjoy the show, and it's just got a lot of buzz. A lot of people that aren't really even into Marvel are talking about it. So, the Scarlet Witch figure is her best figure in my opinion. We only have one Vision figure, and we probably will get new figures for the show, but I mean, we're probably not going to get them till end of next year or into the following year. So it's that thing where I'm okay potentially waiting for new figures. The risk is, are they going to be as good looking and cool as the current ones that you can potentially get? I mean, that's the thing. So I think
They'd be better.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
I mean, you'd think so. I mean, at least potentially, Scarlet Witch's hair and that sort of thing, and still, and then also I've got Falcon and Bucky, right at the same time. Pretty soon we'll be watching their shows. Again, love both those figures, but Marvel does. They kind of play the next best thing game where, it's always, is the next one going to be the best one? And do we want to chase that? But you can have figures right now in your collection if you want to pay the going rates for these things. So
Yeah, I mean, Marvel's going to heat up because I think isn't Loki also on the horizon?
Yeah,
so there's several shows
after Black Widow, and it's just going to keep going. Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, the Eternals.
But right when that happens, at the end of the year, you're then going to have the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And then it's going to lead right into the Mandalorian, and then right into Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Just be careful about paying those premiums. I definitely wouldn't buy Vision at a premium right now because they're gonna make a new one. It may not be the exact one that I guess that you want, but it's gonna be better. It's just how it is. Hot Toys just makes, and it's been 5 years since they've made one of those figures. Yeah. They've improved 100% over 1,000% better than they were in 2016.
Yeah,
they just make better figures now. So just if that's something you want, great. If you're able to wait, like Chris, that's fine. And even if you can't ever get one, I think you'll be okay if you don't have it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the other thing. I know it's not really part of this topic, but it's like with the extensive lineup that we're potentially going to have with Mandalorian, like I just have to accept that I'm not going to have all the coolest figures. And that's my thing is like, I want to have all these figures, but I'm just gonna have to accept not having all of them.
Yeah, I mean, because you go OT, original trilogy, you've got prequel stuff, you have a lot of stuff. Clone Wars is,
yeah, we haven't even gotten that stuff, and
haven't even gotten to it. So yeah, I think I think the Marvel market's gonna heat up. It may not be like it once was, but it's gonna come closer to the Star Wars market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just we've had such a delay on everything Star Wars that, I mean, on everything Marvel, excuse me, that, people just kind of forgot about stuff. And then, I think now it's a little bit more relevant. And as with things in this area of collecting and a lot of other areas, it's kind of like the hottest thing going is kind of where the market goes. So,
the one other thing that we've kind of skirted around talking about this too, but the fact that, and we've mentioned it before, the Infinity War Endgame stuff was so not only overproduced, but over pre-ordered overseas because that hype was there. But TCU made an awesome point about 20 minutes ago or whatever it was, talking about when you've got like 10 or 14 figures that all come out within a 2-month span, it feels like as a collector, you're drinking from a fire hose. Whereas if there's more of a slow burn, you can really kind of take your time, figure out where you want to go with things, second guess things 71 times in a day, like I'll do, regardless if you give me more time or not. But the fact that I think what will happen is, if you look back to what happened with Star Wars back in like 2018, 2019, there wasn't a lot of interest. Some of the older figures were still holding a lot of value, but then Star Wars like kicked it up a notch with the Mandalorian release. The obviously the first season, and that reignited people's love of Star Wars again. I think what's going to happen here is there's going to be a lot of snake-bitten collectors that aren't going to jump on pre-orders for Marvel. I think over the course of the next year or so, you won't see as high a production numbers because people are going to have that thought process of, oh, well, I don't need to pre-order anything. They're going to make tons of them. Well, that thought process with Star Wars led to such scarcity of like that whole era of Tarkin, Anakin, like the 2017 to 2018 line. It kind of really started with Rogue One, and it kind of expanded it to basically till you got to about like where The Last Jedi was. So many really good figures that were produced in that time period that people are like, I don't really need to pre-order. They're going to make a boatload of them. And now to date, there's still a really low volume. So, some of these figures that have yet to be announced that'll come up, I wouldn't be surprised to have a lot of general collectors, especially if they're going to be Marvel, not be super excited about pre-ordering them because TC made the point earlier, people don't want to lose money. You don't want to pay full price retail for something that you can get afterwards, or the value you might be able to get it for less than sideshow retail price if you just wait it out. And I think this is if this was like a business curve or something like that, obviously Marvel is definitely kind of in the trough right now, but we can start to see some of the data looking at the trends, and it looks like it's trending up. But I don't think it's necessarily the time to jump in now. But one of the other things, and both of you guys have seen this recently, is if you've been holding out trying to recoup some funds for making sales, because whether it's a budget decision or a space decision, I mean, we try to tackle the things that collectors deal with. I mean, we're Joe Schmoes, we're a bunch of hacks, just like everybody else. Just to be able to have that ebb and flow with your collection, to feel like you can move some figures and not take a huge loss. Like if you tried selling Infinity War figures recently, up until like even now,
It's horrible.
It's horrible. You just might as well.
It's so sad. It's like that's still like my biggest pain. Well, first of all, like when I switch over to the Mando, I'm gonna have to end up trading my Mark 50 down size to like a heavy Mando. But that's like my worst thing. My most sad part of collecting Hot Toys is the fact that Hot Toys ruined the line. The Thor figure is now 3 years old at retail. If you just didn't go after the money, you'd have a Thor figure for your brand anchoring Infinity War with one of the best cinematic moments ever. Instead, he's just a shelf warmer. It's so annoying. It's like it makes me angry a bit because it should be treated so much better as as one of the key figures of Hot Toys. Instead, it's crap. And it's because of the supply, and it's just, that's what makes it, the whole thing, it bothers me, because if they can't figure out production numbers beyond what people pre-order, it's just, what are you doing? How do you not have the data to produce more than 3,000 heavy Mandos, to produce more than the 3,000 or 2,000 Remnant Troopers overseas? Why don't you make 5? And why don't you cut back some of the Iron Man? Don't sign Robert Downey Jr. again. Whatever it is the reason why you're making so many of them.
Yeah. Don't make 3 Thanos figures and have tons of stock on every single one of them. Like, I mean, this exact thing. So there's these Infinity War figures. Originally, I had wanted to have an Infinity War display and then an Endgame, and then I realized that's not feasible. There's too many figures that I either didn't want. So then I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to get rid of those. But then I'm like, man, the market is so bad for them. But then I'm also like, do I just keep holding on to them, or do I just cut my losses with, I'm going to lose money on, I would say, all the Infinity War figures that I that I'm selling. I forgot to list it in there. I sold my Infinity War movie promo edition cap to moderator Mike, which I still have to send out. So
What a slacker.
I know, right?
Mike, give him grief in the admin chat.
Which again, I opened that figure. I'm like, man, this figure is so cool. It's got, the suit and all the accessories and everything. But it's like, I had to give it, I gave him, a scavenger deal, and it's just, you got to figure, just cut your losses, recoup whatever money you can, and reinvest. I mean, because we know, like from David K's information, that if you've got Heavy Mando, Beskar Mando, some of those figures, Mark 85, like those figures are coming soon. So you want to make sure your finances are in check and you've got, everything ready, depending on if they're coming from Sideshow or another retailer. So I want to put some money back into my funds to pay for those figures that I have coming. And it's just, it just sucks because
it's going to be a race to who's going to lose money the fastest. I mean, what I'm trying to get at here is your loss today is not going to be as great as it was a week ago or even a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But is it worth waiting around a couple more months to maybe get back retail? If you could take like a $20, $30 loss on a figure, to me, time investment strategies and all that other stuff, beat the market to it, take the little loss and then get it back into the collection. Sure. But we're not sitting here saying that all your Infinity War figures are going to get 2x and all this other stuff. That's not what we're trying to say. Is if you thought the Marvel market was bad before, and if you look at any of the Hong Kong, we've browbeat this to death recently, is all these figures you can get for less than retail if you just go overseas, and Sideshow has to hate that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of an uptick of a trend here, so things are going to start to improve. And if you're willing to wait it out, you can probably get your money back if you don't want to hang on to them. But again, like to TC's point, is even though it is getting better, you don't necessarily have to fork over a premium for, say, the Mark 85, because there's going to be a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people out there that have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth, like us, with collecting Marvel. So
well, I mean, the 85 is amazing. Yeah. So like, if you want the 85, like if you don't have, if you have 50 Iron Man or if you have 1 Iron Man, you want the 85, go get the 85. But if you're talking about scavenging, it's just not a need to get it right now. That's all I'm saying. It'll be a great figure for a long time. So
yeah. Most of these figures do, at least from past couple of years. I mean, they're all great figures, and so
it's not even a question anymore.
Yeah, Hot Toys just doesn't do, unless you're Paul Rudd's. You're not going to have too many misses. You're not going to have too many misses. We could talk about this for a while. I don't know if we painted any kind of a rosier picture than was there before, and this wasn't trying to be misleading in any way. It's just trying to, read the tea leaves a little bit and hope to share what we're seeing and I guess give some hope, to quote Hawkeye in Endgame. Don't give us hope. Don't give me hope. There's a little hope on the horizon. So things will get better. And, I think you can recoup and, just adjust, and collecting as a constant. It's a struggle. It's a fun struggle. And, you can hopefully just make the best decisions you can. We're all going to make mistakes. I make mistakes more often than not. I make more mistakes combined from the whole admin team combined. So if I can overcome those obstacles, then anybody can.
Where I'm the worst, Bryan is the worst in a different way.
I am. So every time I call Chris the worst, I'm actually reflecting that back on myself.
Yeah. You could call Chris the worst 1,000 times, it wouldn't influence him, but if you knock down one of those figures behind him, that hits him in the heart.
I've had to catch. I mean, I've talked about having to catch the figures before they hit the ground. Like, I'm playing with fire over here, especially with little girls coming down here and messing with my computer.
All right, let's wrap this show up relatively soon here. So, after 933 days from announcement to release, we've got Gamora MMS483 from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Took forever. There was a lot of hearsay in the community of what happened with this. Obviously, we'll talk about it momentarily here. Almost a complete reworking of the head sculpt. And at the end of the day, I don't have this in hand, but I think we'll talk about it. Chris, you do have it in hand. Mm-hmm. The changes were for the better. I don't necessarily know if the wait was worth it. I mean, this was announced May 2nd, 2018. 6-scale Scavengers, Chris, was just an idea at that point.
Yes.
We didn't know TC yet. And shout out to some Scavengers that have been going back through and listening to some of our older episodes when we were audio only. It breaks my heart a little bit when they try to join our Facebook group and they just mention that, Chris, you and I are the hosts, and like before TC was the dark ages, before the dark times. And I don't know really where I was going with that, but
no, it's great seeing people go back and check out. I mean, we say that, you know, it might be cringeworthy, but I think there's actually a lot of good information that still applies. And you can laugh and make fun of us and how many times we changed our focus and direction
or rebought figures.
Yeah, parted out figures and
that hurts me. That hurts my soul. Anyways, back on track here. So, like I said, the release date of this figure was May 2nd, 2018, released on November 20th, 2020, 933 days later. The Hot Toys original announced estimate on this one, guys, Q2 to Q3 2019. Dang. They missed the mark by over a full year.
That's nuts. Like, are we thinking that's the longest delayed figure, right?
That and the Hulkbuster.
Hulkbuster.
Original Hulkbuster.
Okay. Yeah,
that wasn't quite as long, but I think it was in the 700 or 800 day range too.
Oh, wow.
So I would try to call it my spreadsheet, but I don't want to break the broadcast here. But I think in terms of what I've been able to track, it's by far the longest one.
Yeah.
Some of the Justice League figures had a pretty long wait too. Like I know Justice League Superman had a really long wait, but still doesn't even hold a candle to Gamora here. So, Chris, you're the resident Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 fan of the admin team.
Yes.
Was a dopo.
She was a dopo. It's just nuts. I can't get over the amount of time we had to wait for this figure. Yeah, so obviously, you know, a lot of people don't have Guardians 2 high on their list. I have it very high on my Marvel MCU list. I love the Guardians movies. I love the second one. Can't wait for the third. But yeah, I mean, once I saw this figure, I mean, I knew I had to have her in the collection, and I was not a huge fan of the original one from Volume 1, so I didn't want to go backwards at that time. But yeah, I mean, to get her in hand finally, it was a little bit, what's the word, like lackluster, because just waited so long. And then I also watched a lot of reviews and stuff before we got her, because mine was through Sideshow. But you know, it's just, it's a really good figure. But I do have issues with a couple things. Thank you, Draw the Line 35, for going back and listening. Sorry, I'm rambling. But this figure right here, if you're a Guardians fan, I would say she's a must-buy. If you can now find her, since she's hit waitlist. But great accessories. You have a lot of options. You've got different You can go with a different shirt. You can go with her booster pack. You've got a pretty sweet rifle. You've got her swords, extended and retracted. You've got little baby Groot with the bomb that Rocket says not to push one button, and he thinks he needs to push the other button. And I just think, Gamora's a pretty important character in the MCU these days. And, I recommend her. The problems that I have with her, it's the rooted hair. I just, you've got to be, some of the people on Instagram, like 16 Salon or whatever, to get these figures looking immaculate. I mean, even in the blogger pictures, I think the hair is an issue. I feel like her forehead, her hairline is a little bit high, and even in person, it puffs up, and I'm not that crazy about it. So, whenever I get her on display, I'm gonna have to do some research and
Hair wax.
get the hair wax and really make sure that the wife doesn't walk in on me doing my doll's hair.
I've had that happen with Black Widow.
And so I don't know. It's one of those figures where I guess if you're a Marvel collector but you're only going with the key characters, which is probably a pass. But if you're a fan of the Guardians, she's a must have figure. So
Yeah, I think just I don't have the figure, but I think it's really well done. It's a shame that it was up for pre-order before the Marvel hype really kicked into gear and then released after everything went the other way. But look, I mean, they did great work here. The rooted hair is a bit of a bummer, but I don't know how you do a sculpted hair
with long hair.
I don't with that work.
It's so tough.
The new Widow has sculpted hair on the prototype with long hair, and I don't think that looks that great either. I think it's a difficult thing with the really long hair. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. And I think they did about as good as they could have done. Brand new sculpt, and the paintwork looks good. There's actually a video on YouTube of a gentleman who actually worked on Gamora, his actual costume, like makeup artist for Gamora, and he bought the figure. And he said that the figure looks really good color-wise. He was afraid that it was going to be a wrong shade of green.
Sure.
But he said they nailed it. So I think it's high quality. And this is one of the Marvel figures. If you're just looking at potential secondary market stuff, I would definitely go for this one because you're not going to see it again for a long time.
No. I mean, you would hope that the one for Volume 3 wouldn't have the type of delay that this one had. But I'm right there with you. In person, I mean, the face sculpt is spot on. It's a little bit just, kind of a little bit of a blank stare there when she is a very emotional, character, when she's fighting and everything. But I think it looks perfect as far as a representation to Zoe Saldana, the actress. And yeah, the skin coloring is key because the first one, the arms, I think there's like a different shade with the arms, and it doesn't quite match the face. This one, matches really well, and then we see the pictures here with her and her sister Nebula. I think the combination of these two figures with all the different color variations and everything with their skin tones, I think it's one of the best duo figure combinations in all of Hot Toys. You put these two on the shelf together, and I mean you're getting Hot Toys standout high quality figures, some of the best you could have. So I just think that really helps for this figure also. She looks great on her own, and then you pair her with Nebula, and then you pair her with the rest of the team, and there's not there's something to be said about being able to have essentially a full lineup that's the thing with Hot Toys. You don't always get the full lineup. You know, if you're being particular, you don't have Mantis, but potentially, you know, we'll see here sometime down the line. But yeah, I mean, that's what really drove me to have the whole Guardians lineup.
And a key baby Groot.
Yes.
A very nice baby Groot.
Yeah, Chris, didn't they all come with a baby Groot?
Yeah. Yeah, all
Yeah,
the
but
ones
look at
from
this
Volume
one.
2.
Yeah, that's a key one. That's one of the best baby Groot scenes in the whole MCU. So, yeah, you guys said a lot. I don't have a lot to add because I don't have it in hand. And, you know, I think one thing, too, with this, the one thing I will comment on, though, Chris, is you mentioned it with the kind of like emotionless stare that she almost has on the figure. Like, this is a good shot, but, like, this just doesn't work for me.
No.
I know what BG Toy Art was going for. But this just looks like she's hugging Nebula, but like staring off, contemplating life. This, an action pose with a blank stare, like this just doesn't work. Like the best photos would be like this one. I'm one of the worst 6-scale posers that are out there. The only person that I know that is worst is Chris.
Okay, I'm the worst.
So you're high on my list of being
6-scale
bad.
economist is right up there too.
Got to compose myself here. We're professionals. One of the things that I've learned over time, and mostly taking the advice of a lot of other people, is you want to try to match like the pose to what the face is doing. So this will work best if you don't go for like an action pose with this one. You kind of want more of a casual museum pose. There's a couple others here that you know, even this one with kind of holding the sword out. I mean, that's okay, but still doesn't. And I'm not trying to get on a soapbox. You guys have already ranted both. You guys both have had to grind your gears already. I'll pass for us, but it just try to make the figure look natural with the way that they look, I guess is what I would just say. I don't even know exactly where I'm going with that, but anyways, so TC, you and I cannot rate this because we do not have it in hand. Chris, on a scale of 1 to 5 baby Groot bomb detonators, would you rate Gamora MMS483 from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Man, I can't not count the wait time for this figure. I mean, for me that kind of plays into this. Gamora, she's a great figure, but like, I want to say like in between a 4, probably a 4 or 5. I mean, a little bit lower there, but for everything you get with this figure, but the wait time really hurt this figure. But I am pleased with the figure. I'm glad I bought it, and I'm glad I bought it at retail. And yeah, I mean, 4 or 5 baby Groot detonator figures.
Yeah, 3 years ago when we started this whole shindig, I didn't think I would have ever heard you say 4 or 5 and talking about Gamora, but it all kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
Little did we know when we started this whole thing that you'd have to wait almost 3 years to have this figure in hand.
Insanity.
But
Yes.
great sculpt.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing to take away from, you know, what's there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so let's bring this show home just because we're going long. We're going to be over the 90-minute mark, and I don't think anyone's really going to complain too much. But kind of closing thoughts. Again, I just want to kind of encapsulate what we were talking about. Not painting the rosiest picture about the Marvel market, but it is getting better. Things are on the uppity up, and you'll maybe only lose a little bit of money versus a lot of bit of money if you decide to sell. If you do decide to hold, your horizon to maybe getting back in the green isn't as long as it was before. A lot of that is due to WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Interest in some of these good figures. The other thing I will say, though, too, shout out to moderator Mike, and a lot of other people. Scott from Parker Files obviously does awesome job. I love his reviews. I would say that even if he wasn't on our team. And the amount of people that are not Marvel collectors that I have heard that are going after the Captain America Endgame figure blows my mind. Even Mike on our team is grabbing him. And I'm glad to see, because it does look like a fantastic figure. I do love me some Captain America myself. I will not be chasing down all the old figures that I used to have, TC. But, I mean, that is going to start to...
The week is young.
The week is young. And there's still 2 weeks until the next podcast. But if you've got people that see a figure comes out, it is really well received, at least for me. Most collectors start to be like, what else is out there? This is what's kind of leading to some traffic and stuff going on. So you might see some people get some... what we probably consider normal thoughts for me, crazy thoughts for most other people about what else is out there. And you could just start to see this gradual, it's not like a full avalanche of Marvel going on here. It's somebody's making a little snowman right now. It's getting a little bit bigger, and you could see it actually, become more of a thing. We could revisit this topic in a couple shows, and everybody will point to this and be like, they were way wrong. I doubt they're going to say we were way right, but I don't know. I think it's interesting. Interesting for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got the interest, the Marvel interest going. When people start dabbling into the Marvel game, then they start looking to see what else is out there. They start looking at the market. They start looking at videos. They start, we've got... Yeah,
Alex is killing me here. Rumors are, thanks to Parker Files, half of the Module Case owners managed to assemble their units.
Right. I know, it's crazy.
I needed his help to do mine.
Oh, man. So yeah, I mean, everybody, like I was saying, we got Jetta Patrol in the chat here, and people start looking, they look at all his videos and his amazing posing of the the figures and stuff. It really gets you thinking, what kind of setup can I have, and can I start dabbling into Marvel? If you're a Star Wars guy, if you're a Marvel person, you look at the Star Wars stuff. It's just it's all fun. It's fun.
Yeah, but couple, Wasp goes to waitlist, Gamora goes to waitlist.
Oh.
Then people say, I got to get the figures. And then all of a sudden you see some more stock go off eBay, and then it starts to spiral. And then all of a sudden Marvel's coming back. And then by the time Loki hits, Marvel will be peaking. You never know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And just one thing I just noticed too, it seems like Sideshow had gotten some, while we were on the air here, we missed it, so no big deal. But it looked like some older figures had kind of quickly came back in stock. I don't know if they found them under a shelf in a warehouse or something, but like quarter scale Boba Fett and some other stuff. But I forgot to mention it talking about Boba Fett and Bo-Katan for Mandalorian. Sideshow has RSVP pages up for both. So if you order from them and you want to know the instant it's available, sign up for those RSVP links in your Sideshow account. So we've got our website, sixscalescavengers.com, with our database and more. The checklist, research all these Marvel figures, these Star Wars figures, a lot of detail when you click on the links within those checklists, and we've got product pages for all of them with all the detail you need. We've got our TeePublic store, Six Scale Scavengers, the new Dopo design, thanks to Roy. I've rocking mine. Chris, you've been rocking the Bo-Katan shirt. I guess right. we can go with that. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. We've got our audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and sixscalescavengers.libsyn.com. You want to grab that RSS feed and throw it into your podcast catcher of choice. Mentioned them a little bit ago. Subscribe to Parker Files on YouTube, the official Marvel Hot Toys video reviewer of Six Scale Scavengers. And obviously, check out the Captain America review and the Gamora review that he did recently. And if you need help with your Module Case setup, Scott's video is great.
Very, very helpful. And his videos look great up on the big screen. Highly recommend doing that.
For sure. All right, guys, any final thoughts here?
No, just one. I mean, I've shown it a couple times. my t-shirt. It's Bo Nose. It's kind of a play on obviously Bo-Katan in her Night Owls helmet and everything, but Bo Jackson from baseball and or Major League Baseball and NFL fame. This is actually a design by my buddy Art Eddy. He's the host of the Art of Fatherhood podcast, and he's got a TeePublic page, and he's got all kinds of cool shirts. I got another Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader shirt as well. So yeah, definitely. If you're a dad, definitely check out his podcast. He just interviewed Bobby Moynihan from SNL and stuff like that. So all kinds of great stuff. But yeah, he's got some good, cool designs.
And he's all right because he's a scavenger. So
that's right. That's right.
We should have him on our podcast.
I know.
At some
we
point.
Definitely need to.
Yeah. All right. I think that's going to do it, guys. Another great one. Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in live, whether you popped in for a little bit or stayed for the whole thing. The regularly having over 100 people here just blows my mind, guys. It's humbling to say the least. We do this because it's fun. We enjoy it. It's a lot of work. The amount of time that goes into preparing these things and actually putting this production on, it just doesn't happen. So I got to thank our awesome team. And obviously, everybody that makes this possible by tuning in and makes us want to keep doing this every 2 weeks. And as long as people keep showing up, we'll keep showing up as well.
Ain't that the truth?
All right, Chris, my friend, bring us home.
Excelsior.